Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Locker Room. I'm your host, Tommy Tellerino. Alongside me is my co-host, Jordan Navarro, and we have another action-packed episode for you today. As you can see, if you're watching the video podcast, Jordan is no longer with the Chicago Bulls this week. Looks like they kicked them out for maybe COVID reasons. Maybe were you betting on the game again?
Vooch is out for 10 days. I am vaccinated, but things happen. He caught it. I'm sorry, Vooch. And I got kicked out for betting on the games. But today I'm in Vegas, man. I'm in my private helicopter. I'm flying above the city skyline, listening to Silk Sonic. It's a great day. I plan on making people a lot of money on this episode. So stay tuned to the end. I got some great picks.
What we like to hear. Pat fired me after recent woes in Miami, but it's all right. I didn't want to stay with the team permanently. Well, let's get right into it. We had some more great games this week in the NBA. The one that really caught my eye was Philly versus Milwaukee. This one really was back and forth the whole game, and Giannis showed up in this one. I don't know if you were watching it, Jordan, but no Middleton as well. I believe Drew Holiday didn't play again in this one. And he really put the team on his back in the end and made some clutch plays. Did you see any of it?
I watched a little bit of the end. I think Holiday played in this.
He did, okay.
But
Lopez is out again.
Embiid was out in this game, right?
Yeah, because this is like his first game out from COVID, or one of the first.
Yeah, I did know Drummond had a huge game. But tell me more, Dad. Tell me more.
Oh, wow. Stop that, sir. You're throwing me off. I'm not a father. But Milwaukee ended up winning this one 118-109. And Giannis put up 31 as usual, 16 rebounds, 12 of 26 from the field, 4 assists, 2 blocks. And the next guy up was Grayson Allen again, who really got it done from the three-point line again. 5 of 9 from 3, 25 points, 8 of 13 from the field, 3 assists, and no turnovers, which is really good for him. And then other than that, we saw Bobby Portis step up as the third option. He had 19 points, 6 of 14 from the field, 4 of 8 from 3, which is going back to Chicago days to shoot that well. But he ended up having a double-double, 19 points, 10 assists, 10 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, 2 blocks. And they didn't really get much support from the bench, but overall they shot 46% from the field, 38.5 from 3, and then 71 from the line. Really, Giannis kind of really carried this game. It was a great performance by him. He did what they needed to do. If Joel Embiid was in this game, I feel like it goes the other way. I think it was a great showing by some Sixers players as well. The first one was Maxey for the Sixers. He had 31, 12 of 24 from the field, 4 of 9 from 3, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal, 1 block. He really did it all. And then Milton stepped up as well for Philly, 20 points and 6 assists, 4 rebounds, 1 of 4 from 3, 7 of 6 from the field. And like we said earlier, Drummond had a good game, 17 points, 20 rebounds. Drummond, usual stat line. It's about right. I mean, that's what he does.
Hey, 17's high. 17 points. He's putting it.
Yeah.
A lot of putbacks up there. He had 7 offensive rebounds. I think that's the key here. That was a great, absolutely phenomenal offensive rebounding performance.
I think he's a good second piece behind Embiid for this team. Last year they tried Dwight Howard. I feel like Drummond's a better fit. I think he runs with that second group a lot better.
Yeah, I mean, Drummond's a rim runner, and you got a guy like Tyreese Maxey who likes to play fast, and I think it does fit. but not to be overshadowed. Drummond had a great game, but this game as a whole, Milwaukee, they won and Giannis carried. But what type of confidence do you think Embiid saw in the whole group of guys? Pretty much everyone but Ben Simmons. Like, what do you think they're feeling like? Embiid's out and they just played the defending champs close. Obviously, the Bucks have been struggling, but they're 8-4 on the season, 4-3 at home. That record's only going to go up.
Yeah.
And you got guys like George Niang coming off the bench scoring 25 points.
I was just about to say that. That was their key guy for the night, really. He kept them in it. 5 of 7 from 3, 21 points, 2 steals. He did foul out. But what shocks me is Tobias Harris was also out in this game along with Seth Curry. You're missing 3 out of 5 of your starting players right there. And you're able to keep this it's a 9-point final. If I was Philly, I'd be extremely happy with this game, even though you took the loss.
Yeah, I mean, this was a great showing from all of their talent. And there's going to be nights where, Korkmaz doesn't play well. And we saw he played 45 minutes. He was 2 of 18, 1 of 12 from 3. We might not see that the rest of the season. He's a pretty reliable shooter. I mean, he's not going to, torch the net or anything, but he's reliable. And you got a guy like Maxey, who a lot of people thought should start last year. Honestly, they thought he was a really good fit. He can shoot. And, we've talked about this for the last couple of years. They needed to decide whether they're going to build around Embiid or if they're going to build around Simmons, because they don't fit in the half court sets. Transition, it looks all great. And, Ben Simmons is a great transition player, but he just doesn't fit with this team. And honestly, I think not having him might be an upgrade, especially if guys like Seth Curry continue their great seasons and Tyreese Maxey and Shake Milton. So, I mean, obviously a great confidence boost that they kept this within 9 and they played them close to the end.
Yeah, and this was an 8-man rotation this night. I think this Philly team is something special here. I wonder if Maxey's in last year against the Hawks, do we see a potential Sixers beating the Hawks in that series?
I mean, possibly. I mean, Ben Simmons played awful. I mean, awful's light. Like, it might have been the worst stretch of games in his career. And it was just a really unfortunate time for it to happen. But, people have been saying that for forever. He's very susceptible in the playoffs when it comes to half-court offense because he just doesn't do much other than drive and kick, but you got Embiid in the post. So, but, I mean, yeah, I think they could have beat the Hawks with Maxey. Obviously, he was a rookie last year, and he's got another year under his belt. He's added some stuff to his bag that we didn't see last year. But I don't think they're gonna miss a step or lose a step without Ben. Honestly, I mean, the defense, they're missing it, sure, but I mean, offensively, they're way better, I feel like.
Yeah, I think it shows too. Right now, they're on a 3-game skid, but I credit that to Embiid out with the virus. Because they lost to the Knicks before the Bucks, and then they lost to the Raptors right after, and then they play the Pacers tonight. So this is going to be an interesting game to watch. I think if they can get a win here, I do think it's going to raise the confidence even more, and I think it's going to help them a lot since they got to win some games without Embiid, and this is going to be a true test. And for Milwaukee, they've dealt with their own set of injuries all year so far. And last night, Giannis was out for Milwaukee against the Celtics. Do we see a little bit of championship hangover here in Milwaukee?
I mean, I think it's to be expected. It's really hard to repeat and go back-to-back in the NBA. I think everyone knows that. What was the last team we saw go back-to-back? The Warriors? The Warriors go back-to-back? And, before that was the early 2000s. So, it's just.
Whoa. Don't forget about Miami going back to back.
Oh, sorry. Yes, Miami. Yeah. But generally, before these super teams, it was very tough to go back to back. My bad.
You're right.
But, yeah. I mean, Giannis being out, Middleton being out, Drew Holiday still working himself back into playing shape. He's had some rough games in the games he has played, to the point where we come on this podcast, we don't even know if he's played or not, which is usually not what happens when Drew Holiday plays. Usually he makes an impact. But the good thing is they've got guys like Grayson Allen stepping up. and he's looking spectacular currently. We'll see if he can keep it up, but we always knew he could shoot. But I mean, if you saw the shot last night against the Celtics, I mean, he's added some off dribble stuff into his bag, and he looks good. But yeah, I mean, championship hangover, but it's to be expected. They just gotta get healthy.
Yeah, and we talk about Grayson Allen. I think it's about time. I mean, we've talked about this kid since he was a freshman in Duke, and then now he's finally breaking through in the NBA. I think he found a spot in Milwaukee, but one thing that that doesn't go unmentioned, he's a gritty guy.
Yeah, gym rat.
He's a gym rat, a scrapper. And I think that's a right fit in Milwaukee because they're a bunch of gym rats or scrappers there. I think he's gonna do well there. But Milwaukee, their next game is gonna be against the Hawks. After they I apologize. Actually, they ended up winning one against the Knicks after this Sixers game, and then they lost to the Celtics last night. And then they face the Hawks tomorrow night. So that should be a game even without Giannis. I think that's capable of winning for them. So we'll see. And the other game of the week was on the West Coast. We want to take that away, Jordan?
Yeah. Golden State just destroyed my Bulls last night. It was a sad night. But, earlier in the week, they played the I don't know what their record was at this point. They're 3-7 now. The 3-7 Timberwolves. And this game, by the box score, it's a 13-point win. Very easy. But this game was pretty exciting if you watched it. If you didn't, you missed out on one. So Minnesota, everyone knows, they're having a Minnesota season. But Anthony Edwards' development has been amazing. He had 48 points, 2 steals, 5 assists, 6 rebounds, was 9 of 12 from the free throw line, 7 of 13 from 3, and 16 of 27 from the field. Was very efficient, was explosive. He was flying all over the court. The only issue I had was he had 6 turnovers. But to be fair, he had the ball in his hand most of the game because Cat wasn't really doing much. He was 5 of 10 from 3, 6 of 19 from the field. But Cat has these stretches where he's just very passive.
Yeah.
Where he doesn't get after it, and he doesn't Cat should lead the league in scoring. He's got that type of talent.
He should, but I think he's a very lazy player. I mean, I hate to admit it because I like him. He's satisfied for where he is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, just playing with his friends.
Yeah.
And then D'Lo had an okay game. He was 18-7, typical D'Lo game. He was 4-10 from 3. But Ant, like I said, was amazing. Anthony Edwards was amazing. And on the other side, it wasn't Steph Curry that pulled this team to a 13-point lead, although Steph had an okay game, 25, 6, and 5 on 3 of 9 from 3, 8 of 16 from the field, so very efficient still. Who do you think it was?
Don't tell me he actually showed up once in his career.
Against his former team, Andrew Wiggins. Maple Jordan.
He
showed up 35 on 3 of 6. He didn't do much else, honestly. 35 points, 2 steals, 0 assists. He was not passing the ball tonight. 4 rebounds, 3 of 6 from the 3-point line, 14 of 19 from the field. And I have to admit, Tommy, over the past week and a half or two, Andrew Wiggins has played inspired basketball. Now, I don't think he's ever going to be the scorer everyone ever thought he was because he's on Golden State. I'm not saying he couldn't still put up 26 a game. He could on a bad team. It just wouldn't be a pretty 26. But he has used his athletic, God-given talents and actually started playing good defense. He has shot the ball decently, and he's putting up 17 points a game on 43, 44% shooting. This dude he's legit. He's playing okay. I mean, it's not what I want to see. He has the tools to be the best player in the league. That's never going to happen. He's too lazy. But I'm glad Andrew Wiggins is playing okay basketball.
It only took him 7 years to do it. I'm looking at my watch right now. Only 7 years to finally show up and look like a number 1 pick. I mean, it's great. This was the guy that was traded for Kevin Love.
Yeah. I mean, it's so sad because he had all the tools. It's just, I'm glad some team is getting something out of him. Obviously, there's still going to be calls to trade him every night because he does still have lapses where it's just like, Andrew, what are you doing on the court? But Jordan Poole was plus 10 on this game. He had 14 points, 2 assists, 5 rebounds. He shot poorly, but he played good defense. And I think I said it at the beginning of the year. This Warriors team, everyone's underrating them. I think they've shown that they're the best team in the league. I don't think there's an argument to be made now. They pull a guy like Gary Payton II up, and he won Defensive Player of the year in the G League last year. And in college, he was a two-time, I think he played in the Pac-12, two-time Pac-12 defensive team member. This dude is legit. I mean, he's found a home. Everyone's happy that Gary Payton's son is in the NBA, obviously, and he's a really good defender. Jonathan Kuminga is a really good defender. He's active. Moses Moody's shown up. Andre Iguodala, Otto Porter Jr. They have a whole bunch of wing defenders, plus Steph Curry. Klay Thompson's coming back. Draymond Green has been playing like a defensive player of the year. They're the best team in the league.
Shout out to Draymond Green in this game. 7 points on 0 for 3 of shooting night.
7 of 8 from the free throw line, baby.
That's what we like.
And 0 personal fouls.
That's rare. You don't see that too often. Are you sure he actually played in this game?
21 minutes. Didn't have to play much. But yeah, I mean, this Warriors team is just amazing. They're going to get Klay back. It's over for the league as far as I'm concerned. I mean, it's going to be tough to beat this team. They're very active. It's probably the best defensive Warriors team we've seen. And I mean, the KD Warriors, they were good defensively in the playoffs, but they would slack off sometimes in the regular season because they were blowing people out by 40.
Yeah.
They didn't have to play much defense. You know, it would be like a team would have the lead going into the second half. They'd be up 8. And then at the end of the third quarter, they were down 35. And they were like, okay, cool, you know. But
whatever. We just give the ball to Curry.
But this team is very good defensively. They're very active. Curry has added a lot of strength. He's a really good finisher around the rim. He's been that, but he's, you know, last year we saw him kind of get bullied a little bit because he was the only option.
Yeah.
This year, that ain't happening. But yeah, this is a really good game, man. Anthony Edwards and Andrew Wiggins show. Incredible. The future of the Timberwolves versus what was the broken past. So it was a great showing from both teams as far as I'm concerned. Hopefully the Timberwolves can right the ship.
And I think we might see some more games from Anthony Edwards like this. I saw something where like it was his third game with was it 40 plus points by 21 years old?
Yeah.
It was like 21 in August, so we could be seeing a lot more before he's 21.
I think the Timberwolves have instilled the mindset that this is your team already. Because obviously Cat doesn't want anything to do with being the alpha dog and trying to score 30 a night because, you know, what is talent? You know, what is talent? Why would I use it?
It's video games, man. He's a gamer.
So he has the green light. He took 27 shots. So
hey, if it gets it done, it gets it done. But you know, it's just sad he's in Minnesota because we'll probably only see like 12 games on TV for him this year.
Maybe that's high.
Well, Jordan Poole also had a solid game in this one. It wasn't his best game of the year, but what are your thoughts on him so far this season?
Yeah, I like Jordan Poole a lot. I think he showed up last year. I think Curry and Draymond and Kerr and the rest of the team trust him. So I think he's a really good defender, really underrated defender. So I think he's the perfect fit, honestly. And you add Klay back to this, I mean, a small ball lineup of Poole, Curry, Klay, Wiggins, Draymond might give teams absolute fits. Or if you want to replace Wiggins, if he's playing like Andrew Wiggins and not like this new refined, actual good Andrew Wiggins, then you put Iguodala in or Porter Jr. I mean, dangerous. It's dangerous to play against this Golden State Warriors team, and they're going to get Wiseman back. So they'll have a big center as well. So this team is deep.
Do we see Klay coming off the bench to start?
Nah, they'll probably put him in, but they'll probably keep an eye on his minutes. The thing is, everyone knows Klay will still be able to shoot. That's no issue. Yeah. It'll be how long it takes him to get his defensive legs under him.
Yeah, because he's been known to be above average defender. I won't say elite because I don't think he's ever really shut down someone to where the whole game. But that's going to be key for them because that was behind Draymond Green. That was their next big defensive guy, at least for guards and wings. So we'll see how that goes. And in the meantime, we had some outstanding player performances this past week. Multiple plus 35 games. But one that stood out to me hit a game winner. He ended up ending 32 on the night. Toronto's very own Fred VanVleet put up 32 against the Sixers, 115-109 win for him. 6 of 11 from 3, 11 of 22 from the field, 7 of 6, 6 rebounds. He did it all for Toronto, and it looks like he's finally playing up to that contract.
He has the cojones, man, the big cojones. He got fined for a celebration. But Federico, the Walmart Drake, he's balling. He's balling. He's balling. The Raptors, they got a scrappy team. They're not gonna go away. They don't have the superstar, but they're not gonna go away. Well, it'll be interesting to watch that team. But yeah, VanVleet looks like that dude.
He's that guy, pal. I like him and Scotty together. I think that's a nice duo. I'm interested in seeing how Siakam's gonna fit in, but we all know
OG on a newbie.
Yeah,
I mean they got a decent amount of good players.
Scotty
Barnes is amazing, by the way. I love watching that kid play.
Florida State, man, produces, like he said. But I forgot that the Raptors have Gary Trent still. I forgot they signed him back. That's a good signing. This is a young team.
Yeah.
And for a while, this was an older team. And after that trade deadline, they really took a step back and said, okay, let's kind of break down the roster. I mean, they didn't get rid of everyone, but this isn't the same team you saw a couple years ago.
Yeah, I mean, they're rebuilding. They're kind of rebuilding on the fly. They want to stay relevant. They don't want to sink to the bottom of the NBA. And it'll be interesting to see if that pays off because, I mean, Scotty Barnes looks like he's going to be a star, but is he going to be the superstar to take them to their next championship contender? Or is he just a supporting cast piece? And it'll be interesting to see how his career progresses in the next couple of years.
Let's hear one. Let's hear a player performance.
Well, we mentioned superstars and people to take to championships and carry teams. And, I look at the Charlotte Hornets and I look at, as a Bulls fan, I look at Lonzo and then I look at his little brother and I wonder why his little brother's not on the Bulls. LaMelo Ball, ladies and gentlemen, even when he ain't scoring, the dude is carrying, but he was scoring against the Lakers. My man's put up 25 points, 11 assists, 16 rebounds, 3 of 8 from 3, 8 of 19 from the field, in what was a 3-point loss in overtime to the Los Angeles Lakers, a Lakers team that has started to kind of find their legs without LeBron, but a Hornets team that started off hot in the season. They've kind of cooled down a little bit, but this team is still very exciting. And in a night where Terry Rozier came back and played great, LaMelo Ball was still the talk of the town. And I don't have any more words to describe this kid. He's just excellent. He's amazing to watch. I think he had another triple-double, I want to say last night or a couple nights ago, where he only had like 11 points, but he had 17 rebounds. So he knows how to make an impact on the game. He's always impactful, whether it's turnovers or whatever. He still has a lot to learn. He does turn the ball over sometimes, but he's just a great point guard. He's a
He's a big baller, man. Simple.
Yes.
He's playing chess and they're playing checkers.
I mean, it's crazy to me that this Hornets team has actually kind of got some depth.
Yeah.
You look at their starting 5 and it looks like it's probably going to be like LaMelo, Rozier, Gordon Hayward, Miles Bridges, and Plumlee. But then they got Jaden McDaniels. They got I don't know if it's Corey or Not
Yeah,
Cody. I think it's Cody Martin. I think Caleb's on the Heat.
yeah.
They got Nick Richards. They got Kelly Oubre,
If
Kai
he
Jones,
do,
and then James Bouknight can't even make the starting. He can't even get playing time because of how good their guards have been. And he's a high draft pick. I liked him in college. I think he's going to be a good player in the NBA. So I mean, we'll see. I hope the Hornets make the playoffs. I think they will. They'll definitely be a play-in team. I hope they make it without having to be a play-in team. But the East has looked good, man. They're 5-17, but they play really tough.
yeah. And one thing that's really stepped up for him is Miles Bridges. He's playing really well for him. He's the leading scorer on the team, which at this time of the year, I thought it would have been LaMelo since, he is very ball dominant. But LaMelo's just special, man.
He is very special. He's gonna be the type where like an 18 and like 14 season, honestly, is like not out the window.
Yeah.
Like that's the type of he's kind of like Chris Paul. He's like Chris Paul with Russell Westbrook's like rebounding instincts. Like, I don't want to say he's as good of a point guard as Chris Paul because he's so young, and Chris Paul might be the greatest point guard of all time. He's in that conversation. But this dude, he just knows how to impact the game in so many different ways, especially in transition. And he's way better than his brother in half court. Like, Lonzo struggles in half court sets, but LaMelo can play half court. But him and Miles Bridges, man, they got this team looking good.
It's the NBA version of him and Eli Scott, really.
Yeah.
We've seen him have good connections before. It's just, I can't believe it's only his second year in the league.
Yeah, he has developed way faster than I think anyone thought.
I'm excited for the future on him. Whose future I'm not excited for if he stays here is Darren Fox if he stays in Sacramento, because this guy, I don't know why he signed an extension here. There's just no future. But Darren Fox had a 37-point night in a 136-117 loss to the San Antonio Spurs, but Fox did it all for him. 37 points, 6 assists, 2 rebounds, 7 of 8 from the free throw line, 14 of 24 from the field, 2 of 5 from 3. I mean, the next highest score in this game was 13 points from Mewtwo from off the bench. You got to get my man De'Aaron Fox out of here. This Sacramento team's sad.
Yeah, I mean, you got Marvin Bagley. He doesn't want to play. They think he's a bad fit. He's lazy, hasn't progressed, whatever. They don't even want to play him. He doesn't want to play. Darren Fox has Buddy Hield and Tyrese Halliburton. And to be honest, they already tried to trade Buddy Hield.
Yeah.
And like Halliburton, I think, is a good player. I think he's taken a step back from what he did last year. I still think he's a good player, though. I think he'll have a bright future ahead of him. But there's nothing here, man. There's just nothing. Sacramento's just lost. It's like, do they restart or rebuild? Well, they're not going to get anyone as good as De'Aaron Fox, right? Everyone's kind of, no one watches De'Aaron Fox because he plays on Sacramento. But go put De'Aaron Fox on the Sixers, right? Or put him on a team like that. He's a good defender. He's the fastest player in the NBA, great playmaker, and can score. He'd instantly be in a top 10 point guard conversation, top 5 point guard conversation if he was on a contender. Like, the kid is that good.
Yeah, I mean, on the season, he's got 19 points, 6 assists, 41% from the field. Not a great three-point shooter, but you don't need him to be. He averages 1 steal a night as well. I mean, it's just what have you even tried to build around him too? Because I'm looking at some of these pieces they've brought in since he's been there, like Harrison Barnes. I mean, Harrison Barnes is a good player, but you're telling me that's the best player you can get from free agency and trade?
They've been exactly what I say teams shouldn't be. They have attempted to pull themselves into purgatory, thinking that they're one piece away and that Marvin Bagley is going to become a superstar that pushes them into the playoff contention, which that is a big reason they haven't been as good as they could possibly be, because Marvin Bagley just hasn't developed. He's just he looks the same as he did in his rookie year. There's just nothing there. I think it's just a miss. I don't think he's a bad player. He's not a superstar. I don't think he can be a superstar. He's just a good, solid, maybe bench player or spot starter as he stands right now. Obviously, he's still young, he can still develop, but as it stands right now, he's not what they need. But yeah, like you said, they just have a whole bunch of pieces that just none of them are on the same timeline. Like
this is the starting lineup from the other night. Fox, Hield, Holmes at center, Harkless at power forward, and Barnes at small forward. Like, come on.
Yeah, the team is just bad.
I
feel like they have to trade De'Aaron, but like you're not gonna find anyone as good as De'Aaron Fox. Like,
and that's a big contract. Not a lot of teams are gonna be able to trade for that contract.
True. And like, do you think Haliburton is going to be as good as De'Aaron Fox, or is he better? Right? Like, I think Haliburton is the perfect complement to De'Aaron Fox. I think Haliburton would play much better as a 2 than the pure 1. Right? I think he's a really good secondary playmaker, really, really good defender, and really good shooter. I think that's his role. I think he's perfect for that. I think, he's a good secondary playmaker. I just don't think he can be the main point guard on a championship team. I don't think his career will go down that path, but I think he's a really good 2. But I don't see it.
I think they can keep him, but what if I'm Sacramento? I'm trading Buddy Hield for a big man. Some big man piece. It doesn't have to be a great piece. It just has to be something that it's going to fit in better than Mo Harkless running at power forward.
Yeah, you know what I mean? You're not going to get anything for Bagley. You're going to trade him for a bag of chips. So
I would package him and Hield together, find something.
You're out there. You trade Buddy Hield. It's like you're almost pretty much at the cusp of another full rebuild.
Yeah.
And they didn't succeed. They didn't do anything with the core that they have. So like this was just a waste of 4 or 5 years of nothing. Yeah, like you could have just said this last year or the year before and said, okay, we're just gonna rebuild, none of these pieces fit together, whatever, go at it again. But if you rebuild around Haliburton, you got to find a superstar. I don't think Haliburton is a superstar. Like I said, I think he's a good 2 or 3. I think he's perfect for that, and he will excel in his NBA career, and he'll probably make a couple All-Star games even maybe. But he's not the leader. He's not a superstar. And do they want to be irrelevant for the next 10, 15 years again? Like, I feel like this front office needs to take action and figure out a plan for this team.
I agree. And the first step is you move them to Seattle right now. Bring back the Supersonics. It's going to be way better than the Sacramento team. I just don't get it. But we'll see. Maybe they'll make some moves, and hopefully by next year we see a front office change and possibly even a head coach change. Because I'm not a big Luke Walton fan. I don't think he's that good. I don't think he's that good in LA. I think it's time to move on.
But speaking of someone who moved on, Dennis Schroeder moved on from the Los Angeles Lakers. Did turn down a sizable contract, but that was a risk he took. But he moved to the Celtics. And the Celtics last night in overtime took out the defending champ Milwaukee Bucks 122-113 without Jaylen Brown. And despite Jason Tatum missing a game-winning shot again, Dennis Schroeder had 38, 3 and 8 on 3 of 9 shooting, 16 of 27 from the field. This is the Dennis Schroeder everyone's been waiting to see since last playoffs, honestly.
Yeah.
He played amazing. He did exactly what they asked him to do. He was in the starting lineup, usually the 6th man. He was in the starting lineup today, and he scored. Like, that's pretty much the tail of the tape here. He scored, and he looked really good running pick and roll. He looked really comfortable shooting. He looked really comfortable in the flow of the offense. And just a really good win for the Celtics without Jaylen Brown, and a really good game from Schroeder.
Yeah, I think this is a good spot for Schroeder. I thought it was when he signed the deal. I'm sorry for him that he fumbled the bag that bad, but I do think that this was his best game of by far this year, but he fits in very well in this Boston team.
Yeah, they just don't have somebody like him. They don't have a guard like him.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of their offense comes from Tatum and Brown, but they don't have a point of attack guy that really, he's really good in pick and roll. And they really didn't even have that with Kimba because Kimba was injured and whatever. And Kyrie's probably the last guard they've had that could really do what Schroeder did last night.
Yes.
So I'm really happy for him. And this Celtics team looks like they're going to start turning it around little by little. We'll see what happens when Jaylen Brown gets back, if this team can start taking off. I know one thing, they shouldn't have brought Al Horford back. The dude's washed.
I agree. I think I was shocked when Al Horford left Boston the first time to go to Philly, but I don't know why they brought him back. Robert Williams has stepped up as that big guy they need, but I don't know what Al Horford's role is on that team. I don't think
that presence. That's pretty much it.
I do think with Schroeder, though, he's a very underrated defender, I think before he was in LA, he was known for in Atlanta and Oklahoma City his playmaking and defending behind Russell Westbrook in OKC. I think he's done a great job in Boston, and he's going to pick it up, I think, with Brown out still.
Yeah, I just really like this fit.
Now on to week 3, baby. It's in the books. New power rankings are out, and we've seen some big changes. We've seen some big losses by big teams, some big wins by some not so big teams. But we're going to start it off. Number 10, the Washington Wizards. What are we thinking?
I think they should be higher, honestly. We're going to talk about them after this, but the Wizards have been great. They've been great.
They came into this before at number 11, so they moved up one spot. And then number 9, right in front of them, we talked about them today, the Philadelphia 76ers.
They're on the up and up, right where they should be, I think. And by next week, they'll probably be in the top 3, top 5.
Yeah, and they moved down this week from a couple losses, but once they get Embiid back, I think this team's going to make a huge jump. I mean, they played good before Embiid got back or before Embiid left with COVID, but I think they're going to do even better when he comes back just because I think that confidence is there now. And then they fell another spot, the Milwaukee Bucks, number 8.
Yeah, a championship hangover. They just got to get healthy. They're going to continue to fall, but they just got to get healthy and get right.
Yeah, I do think I would put the Wizards in front of them, though, I will say.
Yeah, I'd put the Wizards in front of both the 76ers and Bucks.
Right now, I don't think they're a top 10 team with the injuries. That's with the injuries.
Yeah.
But I think that, like you said, they're going to turn things around. Number 7, Phoenix Suns.
Hey, Phoenix is on the come up. They started off the season really slow, but they're hot right now. They're really hot.
7-3 on the year. Previous rank was 15. And like you said, they're really hot. They got their feet under them again. And I think they know it's go time there because that West, it's going to be a tough ride out West.
Yeah.
You battle almost every team there. Even like some of those playoff teams or those teams on the cusp of the playoffs, they give you a battle. And then number 6, Miami Heat.
Yeah, you guys took a couple losses, but yeah, I still think you're a top 5 team. So, I guess right where you should be, right around in there.
I'm saying it's a little high. I think, we definitely should have won those games against LA, both the Lakers, Clippers. Jimmy Butler did go out in that game, but we'll talk more about another game with Miami. But I do think, we just got to get back home, get everything normal again. We'll be all right. We moved down 3 spots, so I think we'll probably stay there within the next week. And then number 5, the Denver Nuggets.
Yeah, the Nuggets are playing like they're just playing okay basketball. Like for that team, what I expect, I think they should be playing a little bit better. But again, MPJ struggling. So yeah, I mean it's good that they're staying afloat amid the struggles, and hopefully they'll take off here soon.
Yeah, Will Barton stepped up for Denver after what happened. We'll talk about that later. But I do think it's a little high for this Denver team. I think I'd put the Suns over them right now, but it's still early. You know, it's only around 11 to 13 games played for every team. So
Yeah.
And then number 4, the Utah Jazz. They fell from their 1 ranking.
Yeah, they slipped up a little bit, but every team takes losses, so no need to worry there.
And Gobert just got in a skirmish with
Miles Turner.
I don't know if you saw that. What are your thoughts on his comments about him saying he's alpha?
I'm loving this Rudy Gobert this year. I'm going to be honest. I love that he's taken this leadership role on this team, kind of. And if he wants to turn himself into an enforcer and start throwing people on the ground, I think the NBA would be better for it. Let's see some technicals. Let's see you get found out of a couple games.
I do think it'd be interesting. It'd definitely be 90s basketball back. I mean, he's no Karl Malone, but I think it'll be fun to see. Number 3, Brooklyn Nets.
KD's playing at an MVP level, and James Harden finally figured out how to play basketball again. So, yeah.
Yeah, they're 8-4 on the season, and I thought, I do think they're not the same team with Kyrie on the floor. I don't think they can make it out of the East without Kyrie. I do think they have to find something else. Like, I think they need to either bolster the bench a little bit or find that other piece without Kyrie. I think it's a tough situation for them, but as long as you have probably the best player on the planet, KD, you're fine.
Yeah.
Number 2, Bulls.
We'll fall in next week's rankings for sure with Vucevic out and playing the Warriors. I mean, Vuce was struggling. He was in a slump, but you can just tell how much our offense, we need him, because when DeMar and Zach get doubled, they just dump it off to Vuce in the post, but we don't have that. So Vuce and Levine are going to have to start playing a little bit better, but we'll fall. Hopefully we'll stay in the top 10, but yeah, it's a tough stretch we got. We're on the West Coast trip. So
I think you'll stay in the top 10 easily. I think you definitely can still win those games coming up. I wouldn't worry too much. I mean, it's a big loss with Vooch, but like you said, he was in a slump too, so you never know. That leaves the final spot, the number 1 spot, to the hottest team in the league right now, the Golden State Warriors.
There's really not much to say that I haven't already said when we talked about the Minnesota game. This team is just ridiculous, and they're going to get Clay back, and I feel like that's very unfair.
Look at Curry, man. So inspirational.
So inspirational.
Now let's take a look at 11 through 20, because we're going to see some interesting teams where they could possibly be top 10 by the end of the year. So let me scroll the way up. We're almost there. Hold on. All right, there we go. Number 11, Los Angeles Clippers.
We have been talking trash to the Clippers all season, and Paul George specifically, and Reggie Jackson. We said they were going to need Reggie Jackson, and he has stepped up.
Yep.
This team is playing well. They're playing a whole lot better than they were at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, they went on a 6-game win streak since the last episode, and Paul George really put the team on his back. They've played great defensively, and they still miss Kawhi, but that's a different story. But all in all, they're playing good basketball. Number 12, the New York Knicks.
I guess I'll go ahead and say it now since we're on the topic, and we can go ahead. This was one of my teams to watch, mainly because their starting five is the worst starting five in the NBA in terms of defense. Their defensive rating is the highest in the NBA, or I guess lowest, whatever you want to say. They have been terrible defensively, and that's not what I expect from a Thibodeau-led team, especially after what happened last year with this team. And they're in a slide. I don't expect it to last, but this could just be a symptom of having Kemba Walker and Derrick Rose be your main guards. They did have, they had Nikita. They also added Evan Fournier. So they took away some defense to add some offense, and I'm wondering if that's gonna be an issue moving forward.
I think it might. They've also had a lot of high-profile games in the past week. I think that's led to that. They missed Reggie Bullock on the defensive end. They let him walk, and Alec Burks has not really stepped up on the defensive end for him off the bench. It's going to be interesting, I will say, because we saw they came out very hot, and now they're simmering off. I don't know.
We'll just have to see. I mean, I expect the team to be good defensively still, but they really don't have a point of attack defender. And you can see what it's done for a team like the Bulls to have a Caruso and have Alonzo. They don't really have that outside of RJ Barrett. They don't have somebody that's going to go through those screens and be really good defensively, because Emmanuel quickly can't do it. Kemba can't do it. Derrick Rose wasn't good defensively in his prime. He was definitely hidden by Thibodeau on those Bulls teams. And Evan Fournier can't do it. So they got to find somebody.
I have a feeling they're going to trade for someone this season and try to get that defender. Or Burke steps up. That's because I know he was a big part of them last year off the bench. Maybe we see him step up. I don't know.
I just think it has to be a team effort. I don't think they have a quick fix on their roster right now, because Kemba's just not known for defense. There's
he's never been
there.
Yeah,
there's just nothing you can do there. But they have to have more energy on the defensive end.
Tibbs will fix it.
Yeah, I have faith.
Number 13, Toronto Raptors. They fell 3 spots.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, this team is not going to go away. This is a team to watch all season, but right where they should be, I think.
Number 14, moving up 2 spots, the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Another team to watch.
Right.
Cleveland. This is an interesting case. I clowned them at the beginning of the year because they're starting 3 centers pretty much, and they rostered Denzel Valentine and Lauri Markkanen. And as a Bulls fan, it brings me joy that they're not on my team anymore. But this team's been surprising. They've played really well, especially Ricky Rubio. He has played. He's on a really good stretch of basketball right now for them. Evan Mobley continues to look like the best pick in the draft. I'm really excited to watch him play. Darius Garland has played really well. He's averaging 16 points and 7 assists with 1.3 steals a game. So really good for him. But Mobley, Garland, Jared Allen's played really well for them. Pretty much everyone but Lauri Markkanen, out of the guys that are getting regular minutes, has played well. I would like to see them use Isaac Okoro a little bit more. He's averaging a good amount of minutes. I'd like to see them push him a little bit more. I think he has a lot of defensive skills that could be useful to this team. I just don't think they're pushing him enough. And then you got a guy like Kevin Love, who's not.
He's like Al Holker.
He's just kind of there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, this team has played. They're definitely punching above their weight. They're playing a whole lot better than I expected them to.
I've been impressed. I know there's talks of them trading Sexton.
I would do it personally.
If they trade Sexton, what are you going after? You going after picks? You going after that one more piece?
I think they could trade Sexton and well, I don't know if they would trade Lauri Markkanen. They just signed him. I don't know. They don't have a lot on their bench. Like a guy like Isaac Okoro, maybe you package him, maybe him and Dylan Windler. It would be an interesting trade package, but I would definitely be going after a piece that could help me now. Like Mobley and Garland, I think are the two pieces you build around. They have a really good connection already in the pick and roll. Evan Mobley's going to end up being the best player on this team. I think that's pretty clear. Not this year, probably next year. And I'm really high on Darius Garland. I really like his game. I think he fits the modern NBA perfectly. So I would just be looking for a wing, really.
And Kevin Love, they wanted to trade him in the offseason. They couldn't find anyone. Do you think he stays there the whole year?
I don't know. I still think him just being bought out and him signing with the Lakers just makes the most sense.
Yeah.
We'll just have to see.
It is a lot of money still on that contract. I don't know the exact years. I want to say, is it 2 years or one more year left?
It's probably 2.
2? Yeah, he signed a huge contract. Rightfully so, though. He's before coming to Cleveland, he was known as a great player. He did take a step back and basically became a spot up shooter, but I think if he does get bought out, he can help a playoff team tremendously.
He's a free agent in 2023. So, yeah, he has one more year after this.
And you were speaking about the Lakers. They are actually number 15.
Yeah. Like I said, they got their legs under them a little bit without LeBron. Still not what I want to see from this team, but better.
Yeah. I was watching the game the other night, and they literally had all street clothes on for their bench. So I think it's going to be interesting. I don't see this team making a deep playoff run.
Yeah, if they continue the pace that they're on, yeah.
And then right behind them, the Memphis Grizzlies.
Ja and Jaren Jackson. They have a lot of players playing good, so hopefully they can continue it. I think they're still probably another year or two away from serious contention.
Yeah. I think, they were the 8th seed last year, like the true 8th seed.
I do believe so, yeah.
Yeah, I do. I think they're going to end up around there again this year. Like you said, they need that one more piece. Ja's looking like the best player from that draft so far, hands down.
Yep.
And then right behind them, Charlotte Hornets, another up-and-coming point guard.
Hey, we have discussed this team ad nauseum on this podcast. So up and coming.
And then number 18, Portland.
Still playing bad. They're like 6 and 7. They just continue to be a middling team. Hopefully they can turn it around here soon.
Yeah, I know. I think you got to move on from Dame and CJ. It hasn't worked out. I know there's never a great supporting cast, but I just think it's time. You got to break this team up, and because then you're going to be caught in the middle, and you never want to be there.
Yeah.
And for Portland, I know Damian Lillard, they were talks of him leaving, but I don't see it happening in a trade unless he outright asks for it.
It's admirable that he wants to stay, but
it doesn't make
sense. Like, yeah, you'd have to trade everyone on that team besides him to try to get him something. But I don't think McCollum is the piece you can put in as a center piece in a deal and be like, hey, I want to go get me a Domantas Sabonis or, a running mate for Dame. It's just not something that's going to be possible.
And number 19, Dallas Mavericks.
Playing a whole lot better. I think they're actually kind of low. I think they're 8-4.
Yeah.
They did have a couple tough losses. Tingus Pingus finally had a good game last night. Him and Luka combined for 64. But this team is going to go as Kristaps Porzingis goes, honestly, and as Luka goes. If Kristaps continues to play okay, play good, they'll be all right. They showed it last year. But I still would like to see Luka get some more help.
Yeah, it's going to be hard trying to find someone for help with Luka. I don't know anyone that's going to want Kristaps. Maybe Sacramento. I don't know. That was a bad trade by Dallas. In
I mean,
hindsight.
in hindsight, I mean, at the time,
I just
you,
I don't know what happened to Kristaps.
he used to be so much more active.
Yeah,
He used to cut. He used to get the ball and drive. I mean, he still does a little bit, but he used to be so. He looked so much more athletic,
yeah.
and
I
just
just
now he's just.
he's a shell of him former self. I don't know what
Yeah,
it is. I know he has put on muscle. You can see that. But like that shouldn't stop you from cutting still and being active.
yeah. I mean, he was a good shot blocker. At 7'3", he was always a good
Yeah.
shot blocker, instinctually, really good cutter, way more athletic than people gave him credit for. And now it just when his shot is right, he can still put up 30. I mean, 7'3" and can shoot
Yeah.
threes. That's not hard. But it's just he doesn't. There at one point they called him a unicorn and they thought he was going to be a superstar, and he just
Yeah.
it doesn't seem
He
like
never
that.
clicked.
Yeah.
And then the round out the top 20, the Indiana Pacers.
Yeah, right where they should be. They're that second tier team, third tier team. They're gonna give people fits all regular season just because they need to get healthier first, but they have a solid team.
And then I don't want to spend too much time with 20 to 30, but two teams that I don't think are going to stay around the 20 spot is the Atlanta Hawks are at 24 right now. I don't think they're as bad as what they are at. And the Celtics are 21. We saw the Celtics improve a little bit. I do think it's going to come to them. But the Hawks, man, they have not looked good since their playoff run last year.
Yeah, they just gotta figure something out.
Any players to watch? You know, we mentioned teams. Any players on your mind?
Two, we already talked about one, Kevin Durant. There's not much to say, but I just kind of want to read his stats right now to show you how ridiculous they are. He's averaging 27 points a game. He's averaging 1 steal, 1 block, 4 assists. Or actually, hold on, that's career stats. This season, 29 points a game, 8 rebounds, 5 assists. His 8.4 rebounds is the highest in his career, shooting 83% from the field or from the free throw line, 43.3% from the 3-point line, 59% from the field. He is shooting center numbers from the field. He's at 60% from the field. That is insane. And he's having to carry this team offensively. Curry is he's
Curry.
2. Curry is Curry. He's 2 in the MVP ladder right now, but it's clear. I think it's got to be KD. And the other guy, he's another forward. Lou Dort out in OKC. The stats are not pretty at all. This season, he's averaging 15 points, 2 assists, a steal, half a block a game, 3 rebounds, shooting 88% from the free throw line, only 23% from 3, and then 40% from the field. I mean, the stats aren't pretty, but his impact on the game is not in the box score. This guy plays tenacious defense. He's the reason they just won their last game. So he's one of my favorite players to watch, honestly. And I think people should just keep an eye on him. He's developing some confidence in his jumper. Hoping by the end of the season, he's up near the 36% range from 3. He's just a guy that I think is going to have a really, really good career.
Yeah. I mean, we've always watched him since he came out in the bubble, and he's always stepped up for this OKC team. I'm happy that I think him and Shea are a good duo because they're kind of opposites. You know, they like one of them handles the offensive side of the court while Lou can handle the defensive side of the court. I think it's a good match and a good backcourt duo. And then you're talking about KD, man. Coming off an Achilles injuries and then to still be able to perform at a high level, to be able to shoot better than what you did before you tore it, that's amazing.
Yeah.
He's a freak of nature. He's a gym rat. But you talked about Steph. That was one of my players to watch. Tearing it up so far this year. Just here's past stats for past 5 games. Against the Bulls, 40 points. I'm sorry to do this. 40 points, 5 assists, 4 rebounds, 52% from three, 62% from the field. Against Minnesota, a little bit of a slow night, 25 points, 1 steal, 6 assists, 5 rebounds, 33% from three. That's pretty low for him. Probably took 15 shots, and then 50% from the field. Monday against the Hawks, he puts up a 50 burger, 4 steals, 1 block, 10 assists, 7 rebounds, 47 from three, 50% from the field. And then against Houston, 20 points, 3 steals, 2 assists, 3 blocks, 36 from three, 50% from the field. I mean, to be able to shoot 50% from the field and not being a center and the way he shoots, this is amazing. This is
just, dude, like Steph is one of those players it hurts to watch as the opposing if your team is playing them. After the first shot he hit, I just shook my head and I was like, he's going to go for 40 tonight. It didn't matter what we did. The team was lost. The Bulls didn't play good, but like it didn't matter. He'd come off a screen, bang, easy. He'd drive in the paint, throw up a floater, in, throw up a floater left-handed off the glass, in. He had it all going. It's just
he's that guy.
It's just ridiculous to watch him. And I think people need to start appreciating KD and LeBron and Steph more because, you know, they're not going to be in the league much longer. Like Steph probably got like another 5-6 years, right? KD maybe another 5, depending. LeBron maybe another 2 or 3. But like they're coming to an end. This era is coming to an end, and we need to start appreciating it. These guys are still performing at a high level.
Yeah, I do appreciate KD and Steph at the high level. I will not appreciate the other one. My heart has been broken from that man. But the next guy, future up and comer, we talked about him earlier, Tyreese Maxey. He fits in so well with this Philly team. The past 2 games, he's put back-to-back plus 30 points. We talked about Milwaukee, but against Toronto in the loss, 33 points, 2 blocks, 5 assists, 4 rebounds, 63% from the field. That's amazing as a guard. And, you know, he's not the greatest shooter, but still, he's very quick. He's everything that Ben Simmons is not, I feel like.
Yeah. I agree with that.
I think this is a match made in heaven. Any other points?
I think Tyreese Maxey needs to be the guy. I think they need to, you know, he probably still is better as a 6-man. Like, I don't think anyone would disagree with that, but I think you just got to roll with it. I don't think Ben is coming back. I don't think you should want Ben to come back at this point. And I think they just need to roll with it and get that drama-filled episode over. But speaking of drama, our favorite topic, our favorite part of the podcast in the recent weeks, the NBA soap opera. It always happens. The NBA is the male version of soap opera, daytime television for us. And this week we have a boxing battle set up. I've already set the card up. We're gonna have Nikola Jokic versus Markieff Morris. Call me, guys. Let's set it up. You know, I'll get the gloves. I'll get the ring. I'm a great promoter. Just let's go ahead and get this knocked out. In the Heat Denver game, Markieff Morris took a cheap shot at Jokic at half court. Jokic responded to said cheap shot immediately. And when Markieff Morris turned his back, he shoulder charged him, and Morris went flying onto the ground like a rag doll, which is what usually happens when a 7-foot, 300-pound man hits you
from behind.
Then things spewed over onto Twitter. Jokic's brothers made a Twitter account. They started talking trash, pretty much saying, let's leave it like this. You don't want a problem with us. We're Serbian. We wear tracksuits. We probably own AKs. And then Marcus Morris defended his brother on Twitter as well, and actually replied to the Jokic brothers saying, you got the right ones, saying that the Morris twins will will run the fade. They will throw these hands. Jokic did apologize after the game, saying it was a dumb play, pretty much saying that, he regretted doing it. But the whole Heat locker room was waiting for him after the game, and they wanted that action. Jimmy Butler especially. And Jimmy always stands up for his guys. There's some bad blood there now. And I think these teams meet again later in the season. Yeah. So
29.
So how do you feel about this, Tommy, as a Heat fan?
Jimmy should not have been fined. That's awful that they fined him. But I agree with what Morris did? No. Was it one of the worst fouls? No. I don't think it deserved that reaction from Jokic. He was trying to stop the fast break. That's what the foul was intended for. Was it a little harder than usual? Yes. It's for Jokic to hit someone from behind. I don't think it deserved that reaction. I think he could have, just screamed some Serbian thoughts at him. I mean, do I think that Morse deserved it a little? Yeah, I mean, it was a hard foul, but that's his job on the team. He's an enforcer. You know what I mean? He's always been like that. But I knew Morris was going to get fined. I don't think Morris should have got a flagrant 2 on the play. Flagrant 1, yes, but I wouldn't agree with flagrant 2.
The whole drama around this is actually hilarious because of the Jokic brothers making the Twitter account and threatening the Morris twins and Marcus. Those guys are close. Marcus and Markieff, they're twins. They love each other. They're always gonna have each other's back. But this is not the first time we've seen Jokic, stand up for himself and push some people around. Jokic is about that action. He's not soft by any means necessary. This guy, he's not one for the BS. He is about it. And if you're going to try to bully him around, he's going to bully you. I have no problem with what happened. I don't agree. I didn't agree with the foul in the first place. Markieff, I get what you're saying, trying to stop the fast break or whatnot. It didn't need to happen that hard. I also don't agree. Jokic definitely did not need to hit him like that. He could have taken a cheap shot later in the game, elbow him or something like that, get back. I don't think you needed to full shoulder charge the guy from behind. That was a very dangerous play. He could have gotten a concussion or something if he hit his head on the floor. And obviously Jokic felt bad afterwards. I think his comments after the game were genuine, but you've opened up a can. You've opened up Pandora's box. The Heat are a gritty team. They play for their guys. Their defense first. They have a gang mentality. It's them versus the world. So this next game, Jokic needs to be very careful.
You don't want to mess with Udonis Haslem. And Udonis Haslem touched the court in that Lakers game the next night. I want him out there. Put him on Jokic.
The Jokic brothers have already bought tickets to the next game.
Courtside.
So if something pops off, I expect that the Jokic family is going to get fined heavily. Yeah.
My thing is, like you said, I agree. Morris didn't have to. Morris is known as a dirty player. He always has been. But what makes this worse is that he got hit with his back turned. Because we've seen. Remember in the playoffs, Pat Bev pushed Paul from behind. Everyone made a big spectacle about that because it was from behind. When you do stuff when they're not looking, that's when the safety level drops dramatically compared to face-to-face. Because most of the time it's just a shouting fest when it's face-to-face. That's all it could have been. I agree with the fine. I do think he should have been fined. The one game, I'm shocked it's only 1 game suspension for Jokic.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be at least 2, but I wouldn't be surprised if Jokic sat out next game against Miami.
No, Jokic is going to be out there. I don't think you have to worry about that one. I'm interested to see how I I'm not necessarily worried about Markieff taking retaliation because I think him and Jokic personally can say that, okay,
Yeah.
whatever. I shouldn't have done it. You shouldn't have done it. Marcus probably has some bad blood. Jokic's brothers obviously have something to say about it. Those two personally, I think they're done with it. I think they can move on. It'll be interesting to see how the teams retaliate. If, the Heat, somebody on the Heat try to do something to Jokic, what is Denver going to do? It's one of those things that this shouldn't happen next game, right? Let's just leave it here.
Yeah.
Let it die. I
Also,
get that we can hate each other, but let's not do anything stupid the next game.
Exactly. That's what I was going to lead to, because Miami, there's pictures of them going to the locker room or trying to get in, and everyone's calling them like fake tough guys, because what are you actually going to do? They're saying you can't get by them, really. That's all for show, I will say.
Yeah.
But they know it's not the right thing to do to go in the locker room, just because once that happens, you're getting fines, possible suspensions, and they're smarter than that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think this whole thing, I think it's dead on the court, and it's just going to be all off court stuff now. Yeah. I don't see it escalating too much at the Miami game. We'll give a little physical, yeah, but Miami games are usually a little bit more physical because that's how they play defense. I mean, that's why they brought in PJ Tucker and Morris, just for physicality. So it'll be interesting to watch.
Yeah.
Any others drama?
No, that was the big one for the soap opera this week on this episode.
That concludes the NBA soap opera and the NBA in general. And we're moving on. The NFL. Thursday night we saw Baltimore get upset by Miami, and Miami lineman turn into Derrick Henry. But game of the week last week we called it too. Baltimore, Minnesota. This game, Baltimore. Yeah.
So it'd be a shootout.
34-31 overtime win, and it was a sloppy game, I will say, on both ends.
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson, he didn't have the greatest game. Neither did Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins more of a game management game. Dalvin Cook did shockingly well against this Baltimore run D. I didn't expect him to put up the numbers he did. Yeah, I was a little bit shocked by Minnesota's receiving. Highest receiver was Justin Jefferson at 69 yards. I thought it was going to be the other way around, where the pass game would get going instead of the run game. But Baltimore, you had all these injuries and you're streaking together wins. This is an impressive team, I think, so far.
Yeah. And, you said Lamar didn't have a great game. The 2 interceptions was bad. He had 266 yards, 3 touchdowns. He outpassed Kirk Cousins, and he also outrushed Dalvin Cook, because that's what Lamar Jackson does. He had 21 carries for 120 yards. This Ravens team would be a whole lot better with Gus Edwards or J.K. Dobbins. I don't think there's any doubt in that. But Devontae Freeman has done admirable filling in. Le'Veon Bell got a touchdown, for whoever cares about that. He did get a touchdown. But Marquise Brown continued to be a great receiver for Lamar, 9 for 116. Rashad Bateman continues to look like a game-changing type prospect, 5 for 52. Mark Andrews had a game. But like you said, Minnesota didn't really get anything going through the air against a Ravens team that's not very good at defending the pass. Tyler Conklin had 5 for 45. Outside of that, nothing else really. Adam Thielen was non-existent in this game. Though he did catch a touchdown, but he had 2 for 6. So they did have a kick return. That was one of their big plays right out of half. So, yeah, this was a good game. It was back and forth. The Minnesota did take a pretty sizable lead. I want to say it was 21-10 going into half. The Ravens came back again, and Justin Tucker won the game for them, like usual.
So many of these Minnesota games they let slip through their hands. They could easily be 6-2 right now.
Yeah, they could be.
I don't know where this Minnesota team stands in the offseason. What do you do if you're this team?
I I think the offense is good. I think you got to invest more in the defense. The defense has regressed, but there's not. They're not going to get a good enough pick to where you could say, let's rebuild, get rid of Kirk Cousins. I also think Kirk Cousins is good enough to get to the playoffs. I think you'd have to do something like the Niners did with Jimmy Garoppolo, and you'd have to take the ball out of his hands in the playoffs. But unlike Jimmy Garoppolo, I think Kirk Cousins can make the throws that you need him to make. I just don't think you can rely on him to carry you offensively. I think it has to be Dalvin Cook. It has to be Dalvin Cook, and he just hasn't had a good season. Like, in terms of Dalvin Cook type seasons, this has been a very poor season for him.
And we've seen Kirk Cousins not carry teams in the playoffs, but against the Saints with Minnesota, he did what he needed to do in that game to advance one more round. Do I think this team makes a wild card? I could see it. They're going to have to string together some wins, but they're not out of it. Could they upset teams in the playoffs? I could see it as well. This offense, when it gets going, it's a scary offense.
Yeah.
You know, Dalvin Cook, Jefferson, and Thielen, they're nothing to mess around with.
And Tyler Conklin has looked good. He looks like a good tight end. It's just the defense is just not very exciting at any level. Like, Eric Kendrick's still okay at linebacker, but like the linebacking core as a whole has regressed. Their corners haven't been good for a minute now, and their defensive line hasn't really been there. So it's just a disappointing defense all around for a team that was built around defense just a couple seasons ago.
It's going to be interesting, and then we'll talk about them later on in their game this week. That I feel like they've had a tough schedule compared to others, I will say.
Yeah.
You know, we've seen they start off with the Bengals, Cardinals, Seahawks, they win, Browns, Lions, Panthers, Cowboys, Ravens. You know, the teams they're losing to, they're high caliber teams right now.
Yeah, quality teams, quality losses.
So I won't say like their losses are that like outlandish, but it's going to be interesting to see because coming into the year, we didn't think they'd win the division, but I thought they could secure a wild card easily.
Yeah.
But as for Baltimore, we saw what happened this week. They after a week of upsets, they ended up getting upset on Thursday night. It was not a clean win for Miami, but they get it done. Tua was benched, and then he came in, right?
Nice. He was injured. They said he wasn't healthy enough to start. He was good enough to be the backup. He ended up having to come in because Jacoby Brissett was hurt, and then he ended up leading a pretty good drive, and they just kept Jacoby Brissett out the rest of the game.
Weird game overall. I watched the first half. 3-3. It's just a boring game, so I turned off the second half. I watched the highlights, but interesting game, and we'll see how Baltimore bounce back. With that said, it's week 10 now?
Yeah, time for a little bit of news.
Week 10. We got some news for you, as most of you know about the OBJ signing. We're going to start off with the other one, though. Cameron Newton is back in Carolina.
Let's make this quick. Cam coming back to Carolina. I love it. I don't think he's worse than Sam Darnold. Also, Cam has the ability, you can win games dirty with Cam. He may pass the ball 6 times, but you can get a win out of that. He can get into the end zone. He has chemistry with all the guys there, especially McCaffrey. I like this. They're obviously bringing him in to try to win. They haven't given up on the season, and I'm just happy for Cam.
I agree. I was sad how things ended in New England with Cam, but it is what it is. I do think it's a good thing he has McCaffrey because McCaffrey's fantasy value, I think, just skyrocketed with Cam in there even more than it is. I
think it's a neutral, honestly, because Cam will vulture some touchdowns that McCaffrey would otherwise get.
Yeah, but you're going to see less throws down the field now too. I see a lot more checkdowns.
He might. It'll depend on how they decide to use him. PJ Walker's starting this week, more likely than not. They said Cam may be in packages, so we'll see.
Yeah. Did he pass physical officially?
Yeah, he signed.
And he's up to 10 million for the deal, they said.
I think like the last like 3 or 4 of that is to get to the Super Bowl and win.
Okay.
So it's more likely 6 million, but that's still starter money.
Yeah.
Prorated for the season.
And then the other signing, which we talked about last week, where he was going to go, OBJ signs with the Los Angeles Rams.
I said he'd go to. I thought he was going to Seattle. It was the other NFC West team. Of course, it was an NFC West team. Everyone loves to come out west, except to San Francisco, apparently. But RIP to Bobby Trees. Robert Woods did tear his ACL today or yesterday in practice, I guess. Sad news. At the time, it didn't look like they needed OBJ, but it looks like he's going to have probably not this week. Van Jefferson will probably be in the 2 wide receiver sets this week, but probably next week, OBJ will have a decent starting job. It'll take Robert Woods' role. There's not much to say here, Tommy. He signed with a team he thinks can win the Super Bowl and can use him.
I will say he is going to play Monday night, they said. But, I'm not surprised Odell went to LA. He's out in LA. He's going to have the limelight on him. I think he wanted this all along. I think it would have been smarter to go with before Robert Woods got injured. It would have been smarter to go with the Packers, I think.
Yeah, I think going to the Packers or Seattle would have been a better option for him personally, for his career. But it just is what it is. It's OBJ. Hopefully, I would love to see OBJ be good again. When this will be a good test to see if he has anything left.
Yeah, I do. I will say I think a lot of people have been putting it on Baker Mayfield a lot for Odell's woes in Cleveland. I think it's a little bit of both. You can't just blame Baker. I know that he didn't connect with him the most, but Odell dropped his fair share of passes when he was in the game. So,
yeah.
But last Monday night, we saw Chicago take on Pittsburgh, and officiating might have been one of the worst games of the year throughout the whole game.
Yeah, this game was messy. It was terrible. The NFL needs to overhaul referees, how they're trained to handle situations, how they're trained to call the games. It was not good.
I get the flag for taunting. I get that. But if a player did what that ref did with the hip check, they would have been out of the game.
Yeah, I don't understand that at all.
There needs to be consequences for that.
Yes.
I will say. But, Mike Tomlin put out a statement after the game saying, oh, well, I agree with the call. We're trying to clean this game up because he's on the competition committee. I don't think they gave him a softball for that one. What's the guy going to say? Oh, no,
Yeah.
that's – but there was one thing that did stand out, though, is Big Ben got a roughing the passer call. And then, the next Bears drive, the same exact play happened, and Justin Fields doesn't get the call. And I actually credit Justin Fields because he called it out in the press conference. And he's saying, why am I not getting the same call as Big Ben? I mean, I get that he's younger, but you got to treat the quarterbacks.
It's the legacy thing. They want to say the old man gets the call or the vet gets the call. It shouldn't be that way.
Yeah.
Obviously. And if you're going to protect the quarterbacks as much as they have, where you pretty much can't touch them.
Yeah.
Because apparently the NFL thinks that 250-pound, 300-pound linemen and linebackers can stop on a dime, can stop their momentum on a dime as soon as they see the quarterback's arm go forward, and they can just completely stop. It's just this is a very poor officiated game, and there's just a lot of highlights in this game, too many to really go over, that just show that the NFL needs to do something about the referee. They affect the games way too much.
Yeah, and we've had these officiating problems for years now. I mean, even going back to the Rams Saints games, it hasn't gotten better since
Yeah.
that playoff call.
And I just don't get how you could challenge pass interference. They never really did anything about it because they didn't want to admit that they were wrong. And then you just say, we're going to take it away.
Yeah.
It's a call that, first off, to mitigate it, it needs to stop being spotted a foul. It needs to just be 15 yards like it is in college. That would be the first start. But I also just think things should be challengeable. There needs to be clear, defined pass interference rules for both players. Because there's a lot of times where it just looks like the guys are hand fighting, And if both guys are hand fighting, to me, it's not pass interference. To me, it's pass interference if one player is interfering with the other player's ability to make a play on the ball. If it's both guys sitting there hand fighting, then it's equal. Then,
Yeah. I agree, because then what are you going to do? Throw pass interference for both? You know what I mean?
Then it's offsetting. Then it's just offsetting. It's a worthless call at that point if we stop making it spot of the foul.
Yeah. But who knows? Maybe we'll see it cleaned up a little bit this week. I also think different crews officiate the games in different ways. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that's one thing you have to highlight as a head coach now is, hey, we have this crew. You're not going to get away with this. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's something to look out for. But week 10 picks. We saw last week basically the whole NFL turn upside down with some of those games. Jordan, take it away. We're putting week 9 behind us. Week 10 is here. First matchup, Atlanta at Dallas.
Give me Dallas, but in a much closer game than the line suggests. I have this as my trap game. So, but much closer than -8. But give me Dallas.
I got Dallas in this one, even though they're missing a couple key pieces with Gregory and their kicker. I do think they're going to put last week's loss behind them. It was a trap game for them. Expectations were at an all-time high. They're riding highs. I mean, they came on the 6-game win streak. Back to business for them. I do think it might be, was it -8 for them?
Yeah.
I can see it closer than that. Next game, New Orleans at Tennessee.
Give me the Titans as the Saints struggle to find their offense without Kamara.
Yeah, Kamara's out for this one. And Tennessee, although they're missing Henry, this big hit with Simeon didn't look bad last week. He looked terrible, but
yeah,
it's just he's a game manager, and I think Tennessee. I think they're one of the teams to watch in the AFC.
Their defense has stepped up. You know, the defense looks legit. So if the defense is legit, maybe they didn't need Derrick Henry as much as we thought.
Yeah, I got Tennessee in that one, and then sticking to the AFC South, Jacksonville at Indy.
Give me Indy, but give me Indy in what I think will be a very sloppy game. I'm gonna be honest. For some reason I feel that way. Now I'm not gonna sit here and say it's gonna be close. I don't think it's gonna be close, but I feel like Indianapolis. This is just one of those games where they're sloppy. It just doesn't look as clean as it should.
They're known for those games so far this year. Like we multiple times. I got Indy in this one. Jacksonville played great. I got to give it to them for that win. I know you won on 3 field goals. Your defense stepped up, especially Josh Allen. So good for them. I think it's not going to happen though this week. Ain't gonna happen. I think the Colts are a little bit too strong of a director, or too strong of a team. And then New England hosting Cleveland.
This is my pick for game of the week. I don't know. I've been looking at this game for the last hour or so, and I don't know. It's a 50-50. I'm gonna take New England. No, I'm gonna take New England because my gut says New England in a game that Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt and Demetric Felton are out, but Dearness Johnson has looked great in the playing time he's gotten. But I'm gonna take New England.
I think this has potential for game of the week as well, since both will be out. Both teams are without their starting running back, and I want to say they might be both down to their third string. I don't know if Stevenson's third yet, but New England's riding some momentum. They've got some wins under their belt now. Mac Jones has looked poised, and the defense has stepped up. I think it's going to be a close game. It's going to be a low-scoring game, but I got New England winning this one. Bill hates Cleveland, so I think he's going to be ready and bring everything he's got. And sticking to the AFC East, Buffalo at the Jets.
I know this is your trap game for Buffalo bettors, not for. I'm pretty sure you still expect Buffalo to win, but for the bettors, Mike White should start this game. I think the Jets will put up a below average to average performance. They won't look completely lost, but Buffalo probably has a sour taste in their mouth after just losing to Jacksonville. So I'm going to take Buffalo in what will be a pretty clean win.
I'm saying Buffalo wins. It's going to be a two-score game, though. Maybe. At worst, I think. I think Jets might be able to hold it within 10. Mike White's special, man. It's looking special. But also just because divisional games can go either way. We've seen it every division. And then next game, Detroit at Pittsburgh.
Listen, Dan, we got to talk, man. Me and Tommy have been believers, and we thought after some early season showings that you guys look pretty good, but it looks like Jared Goff has turned back into turd Goff, and I'm starting to question your coaching prowess. And I don't want to see you guys go 0-17, Dan. Dan, please. I don't think you're gonna win this game. I'm gonna take the Steelers. But please, you got to show me something, anything.
Dan, get it done. Get it done this week. I've been up here for 10 weeks saying how great of a coach you are. Show me this week. Show me why you are the coach of the Detroit Lions. I don't want to see none of this BS blowout like what happened freaking Philly. You're going into Pittsburgh, you're taking some kneecaps, like you said, and you're coming out of there with a win. This is your best chance because that offense is awful. And, yeah, your defense is not great at all, but they're losing. They lost their two best receivers so far, so they're down to Deontay Johnson. Could just cover the man. That's all you need to do in the passing game. And so help me God, just find one guy that can blitz to Big Ben, please. I'm going Detroit. Next game to round out the 1 o'clocks, Tampa Bay at Washington.
What will Tom Brady do without Gronk and AB and possibly Chris Godwin? Oh, wait. He has Mike Evans, Leonard Fournette, Cameron Brate, O.J. Howard, Scotty Miller. Give me Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay. Tampa 12. We saw Taylor Heineke have a good game against Tampa last year in the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm sure. But give me Tampa Bay.
Yeah, I was just going to leave it at that. But 4:05, Carolina at Arizona.
Give me Arizona because PJ Walker's starting and Cam Newton probably isn't ready yet. So just by default.
Roll Arizona, baby. Minnesota at Chargers.
I've been saying Minnesota's going to keep winning these games for the past couple of weeks. They've been one of my favorite picks to have. I'm done doing it. Give me the Chargers. The Chargers are going to roll this game. The offense is going to get back on track. Bold prediction, Keenan Allen's going for 10 for 150.
Man, I wish you said Mike Williams, but I do have the Chargers as well. I do think Eckler is going to be in both the passing and running game. And I don't think the Minnesota defense is going to be able to slow down this Chargers offense. And then 4:25, Philly at Denver. America's losing.
Yeah.
You're telling me I'm wrong?
This is another 50-50 shot. Give me Denver because their defense played so well last week. but I would not be shocked if Philly comes out here and somehow manages to look like an NFL team and wins.
Man, I don't know who's winning this game, and I really don't care. But give me Teddy Two Gloves. He'll play it safe. They're at home. Maybe Jalen Hurts is going to run out of breath at Mile High Stadium.
You might.
And then America Game of the Week, Seattle at Green Bay.
This is in Green Bay. It's probably going to rain. It's going to be like low 40s, high 30s. Rodgers is coming back. Russ is coming back. Give me the pack.
Yep. Going Packers as well, just because that Seattle defense can't stop a runny nose. So I'll leave it at that. And then 8:20 Sunday night, Kansas City at Vegas.
This is one of my locks. I'll get to them later on why I think that. But all I'm going to say is just win, baby. Give me the Raiders.
The Raiders at home always has Kansas City's number. I'll say that. In a year that Kansas City's down, Raiders are up. Raiders on top in this one, I think. Give me the Raiders. And then Monday night, Los Angeles Rams at San Francisco.
We haven't won a home game in 2 years, it feels like. I'm pretty sure that's probably accurate, honestly. We're 0-4 at home this year. People are starting to question Kyle Shanahan's coaching ability. The Rams haven't beat us in 2 years, though. And I think we're going to get the best of him here. I'm going to go San Fran off of hopium. I'm off that hopium. Give me San Fran.
You know, I've been on that hopium with you, and I'm not going to do it anymore. Too much for me. I'm just going to take the Rams in this one. It'll probably backfire, but it's all right. I'm sorry. I've been let down. I've been let down too many times this year by San Fran. I've been defending you guys too much.
You're telling me.
But I think it's going to be a close game. I do think San Fran always plays McVay pretty well. So it'll be interesting. That is all for week 10. But we got some cash or pass time, baby.
It's my turn this week to ask the questions, Tommy. You know how this goes. I'll give you a bet that I hand selected. You tell me cash or pass. Got some interesting ones in here this week. We'll start off with your guy. TB12, over 2.5 touchdowns against the worst defense in the NFL, the Washington football team, for plus 250. Cash or pass?
Passing or just total?
Passing.
Passing? Give it to me. Cash. Straight cash.
All right. You got the guy on your fantasy team, Mike Williams, over 61.5 receiving yards against Minnesota, minus 115.
Considering how Baltimore did, I'd say cash. But it's Mike Williams who hasn't done anything in the past 3 weeks, so I'm passing on this one.
All right. Timberwolves tonight. Let me see who they're playing because now I forgot. They are playing the Clippers. I did the alternate line here. The Clippers are -7, okay?
Yeah.
I did Minnesota -2.5 plus 290.
I'm saying cash.
You're with me. I think the Timberwolves are going to pull this one off.
They play those top teams pretty well. I think they pull this one off.
And my last one, Kyle Kuzma. Let me get his stats pulled up here. Kyle Kuzma has averaged. He's being slow.
9.1 rebounds.
Yes, 9.1 rebounds a game. I have him going under against the Orlando Magic. I have him going under 7.5 for plus 110. Cash or pass?
Against the Magic, under 7.5. I pass.
All right, we got 2 passes, two cashes.
I think he's like leading rebounds for Washington.
Yeah. I
I
don't know.
don't
I just feel like the Magic got a lot of size on them.
do. Who's that power forward
For who?
for Orlando?
It has been Wendell Carter the past couple games.
Actually, give me cash. Give me cash.
All right. Now heading in, we got some trap games we've already discussed. I got Dallas -8. I just think this game's gonna be closer than that. And you've got
I went Bills -12 against the Jets. I think that's a lot. I don't even think it's the highest of the week. It's a 110 push. It was 110 or -110 either way. But I think the Jets have been playing really well, and I think they can hold it within 2 possessions.
I like that. I like that. For me, -8 is just I don't know. Dallas is missing some defensive pieces. And I think Atlanta, Matt Ryan has played pretty spectacular this season. Not everyone's really talking about it, but he's had a pretty good season. I think they can just keep it close. And what are your locks of the week, Tommy? We're 2-2, by the way. 2-2.
I
And I made a lot of people money if you took my bet. I said the Titans would win that game -2.5 over the Rams. They won 28-16. Everyone was counting them out because Derek wasn't there. I got faith in my Titan brethren.
have to make a formal apology for my lock last week. I said Dak Prescott would throw a touchdown and they would win the game. I don't think either of those happened. I'm
He
sorry.
did get a touchdown.
I didn't know if they pulled him yet or not. I'm sorry. I didn't know Dallas was going to be in a trap game. I thought they were just going to handle business. But Teddy Two Gloves said no. I'm a ball out. Pay me. But this week, don't worry. It's going to get better. My locks are Jonathan Taylor, 113.5 total yards. I'm saying over.
All right.
It's a 115 push. Ryan Tannehill, 246.5 yards over. -120 money line. Or -120 line.
I like those. Now, I went a little wild with mine, this first one. I'm not one to safely bet. If it has a minus sign in front of it, I usually don't want to bet it. John Morant to score the first field goal in this game versus the Pelicans tonight, and for them to win +1,000. Hammering it. Give it to me. I'll tell you exactly how it's going to happen. Jaren Jackson's going to win the tip-off. They're going to pass it back to Ja. Defense isn't going to be set. He's going to soar into the lane. Easy layup. And then they're going to dominate and win. And my other lock of the week, Raiders money line versus the Kansas City Chiefs for +115. I was going to get wild with it and go like Raiders -7 or something, but I figured I'll play it relatively safe. Give me the Raiders +115 on the money line. I think they're going to win that game.
Give me the Raiders. Give me the Raiders.
Breaking news, everybody. Since we just talked about the Titans, I just got this. We're at the end of the episode. We don't have anything else to talk about, but the Tennessee Titans have just placed Julio Jones on the injured reserve list.
Finally. I mean, it's about time.
It is sad to see what has happened to that man. So are you still taking Ryan Tannehill, 246.5 yards? Are you still taking over without Julio?
Yeah, I'll take over still. I'll take the over still.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is another episode of Cash or Pass. Another episode of The Locker Room. Can't believe I'm here still, honestly. But it's been a fun ride. And Tommy, I think we killed that episode.
Yeah, it was a great episode. I think we got a lot of stuff in. I hope you all enjoyed. And I hope you take our bets because we hope they hit. I don't know if they will. I'm not a genius. I don't predict the future. Jordan does because he's in Vegas in a helicopter.
Yes, I'm here in Vegas. Listen to 777. I'm about to buy it after this roll. Actually, I'm about to buy the whole city.
He's with Dana
Uh,
White. There
After these bets hit, I'm about to buy the whole city.
you go. Can I have part of it when you're done? Or
Yeah. We can share.
all right.
I'll give you the private jet. I got the private helicopter right now. The jet's not really my thing.
I just want the jet.
Yeah, you can have the jet.
Benny. I'm gonna name it Benny. Benny the Jet. But yeah, that's all we have for today. Thank you guys for joining us again. It's a pleasure giving you these sports updates. We'll see you next week for NFL Week 11 and NBA Week 4, month in now. Have a great night, everyone.
Peace.